At the very beginning of our drama, we are introduced to two young children, a small boy and a little girl who are playing happily outside a church. Playfully, the boy pretends to marry the girl and then declares to her, "From this day forward, you are solely mine." Then the scene cuts to a school where, during their break time, students are coming out of their classrooms. Here we encounter three girls who are secretly reading comic books, even though bringing comics to school is strictly forbidden. Among them is the main female lead, Susie, who is the school's top student and has always ranked first, a record like that, which no one has been able to break even to this very day. All of a sudden, a great commotion breaks out amongst the students. The girls start to softly whisper amongst themselves as they catch sight of a boy walking past. This boy is Ivan, who has only recently transferred to this very school, and he is the main male character. One of Susie's classmates is completely mesmerized by Ivan's incredibly good looks and simply cannot stop staring at him. Once Ivan has walked away from them, that classmate then turns to Suchi and asks, "Why didn't you even notice him? Why are you always so lost and distracted?" Then another girl interjects saying, "Suchi is never distracted, not even for a moment." Just then, a teacher spots those girls engrossed in reading comics and begins to approach them. Quickly, one of the girls shoves the comic into Suchi's hand and flees, leaving Suchi standing alone before the teacher. The teacher mistakenly assumes that Suchi was the one reading the comic and advances towards her. At that very moment, Ivan suddenly steps forward to help Suchi. He quickly pulls Suchi to the side and hides her, and together they manage to escape the teacher. The frustrated teacher finally gives up his search, warning that if he catches anyone reading comics next time, he will call their parents. Susie, who is hiding, finds herself unable to stop looking at Ivan. When the teacher finally leaves, Ivan casually remarks, "The teacher has gone. We really must be going now," he states, and then he leaves. Susie continues to watch him depart, completely engrossed in her own thoughts. Later on, as Susie is heading back towards her classroom, her teacher calls out and stops her. She feels that she is going to be scolded now, and she mentally prepares herself. But her surprise knows no bounds when the teacher congratulates her, because she has once again achieved an exceptional score. This time, with a perfect 900 marks. The teacher then explains that a list is being prepared for the upcoming school conference, and Susie is asked to lend a hand. Suchi sits down, about to write her own name at the very top of the list, but the teacher quickly stops her. The teacher says, "You are the school's topper, but now there's someone else, a student named Ivan, who transferred here just a few days ago. He hasn't even properly settled into school yet, but still managed to top the exam. But don't get demotivated. I'm completely sure that by the end of the semester, you'll reclaim your position and surpass Ivan." Suchi doesn't respond. She quietly starts writing Ivan's full name on the list. While writing, he remembers his own childhood, when he first learned to spell that name. Ivan's name was exactly the same as her childhood crushes, the very boy who had playfully married her outside the church. And now that Ivan had recently helped her, he had once again become her crush. Suchi realizes that she has started to like Ivan even more. The ranking board is displayed, and students begin to discuss with great excitement. One by one, everyone departs from there, but Sushi remains, happily gazing at Ivan's name and her own. Just then, Ivan approaches, standing very close to Sushi without uttering a single word. He then quietly walks away. Sushi watches him leave with a loving gaze. The very next day, Ivan is playing a game in his class when Sushi comes out. She asks one of his classmates, "Did the teacher tell me to give this form to Ivan?" As Ivan comes to take the form, Sushi's heart starts pounding very fast. Today, she's about to speak face-to-face with her crush for the very first time. Gathering all her courage, she holds out the form and asks, "The teacher told me to hand this over to you?" Ivan replies, "Thanks, Sushi." Sushi is completely taken aback. "How on earth does he know my name?" Ivan then says, "Of course. I know your name. Your name is always right below mine in the rankings. You consistently come in second, and sometimes I genuinely worry you'll overtake me. How could I possibly not know your name?" Hearing all this, Sushi is absolutely filled with happiness. She often thinks to herself, "My crush knows my name." But unfortunately, it's all just a figment of her imagination. But in reality, when Ivan truly stands right there in front of Sushi, her mind goes completely blank. Everything. She forgets a part of what she had intended to say. With a nervous stammer she can only manage to utter, "The teacher asked me to give you this form." Iakasaya sata betiapiha. Ivan, without saying much, takes the form and immediately leaves because his friends are calling him for a game. Sushi just stands there, completely stunned, and thinks, "He didn't even notice me. Doesn't he know that I'm not just some ordinary girl? I've always been the school topper." Later, in anger and frustration, she vents all her emotions while playing table tennis. Hitting the ball hard, she thinks, "Who does Ivan think he is? Didn't he ever get curious about me? My name is always right below his in the rankings. Before he arrived, I was the number one." Then she tells herself, "I will make him remember my name. I will make him notice me." The scene shifts, and we see Sushi approaching her teacher. With a confident demeanor, she declares, "I would like to apply for the student ambassador position." The teacher is quite taken aback, as Sushi had never before shown any interest in this particular role. Determined to win, Suchi goes straight to the library and begins studying diligently. The form she was supposed to give Ivan, she had secretly filled out for herself. One day, Ivan also comes to the library to study and sees Susie completely absorbed in complex books. Out of curiosity, he glances at her. He then quietly takes his usual seat and starts studying. Throughout this period, Susie would constantly steal glances at him. Her unrequited love was becoming more profound with each passing day. However, every time Ivan happened to look in her direction, Susie would instantly straighten up and avert her gaze. This is quite common in one-sided love. People wish for their crush to notice them, but when that moment actually arrives, they themselves become nervous and retreat. The next scene takes place in the classroom where Susie is practicing a problem on the whiteboard. Suddenly, Ivan enters from outside and calls out her name. Susie is completely shocked. She finds it hard to believe he's calling her and she asks, "Are you truly calling me?" Ivan replies, "Yes, come here." Excited and feeling quite nervous, Susie slowly walks towards him. But her heart is completely shattered at that moment when Ivan asks her to call Hania, a girl who is in his class. He had called Susie over, not for himself, but simply because he needed some assistance. Despite her deeply broken heart, Susie reluctantly approaches Hania and tells her, "Ivan is calling for you." Hania goes to Ivan quite happily and the two of them start to discuss a question together. Seeing the two of them engaged in conversation, Suchi turns and walks back towards the board, filled with sadness and a sense of jealousy. Her heart shatters even more when she realizes that Ivan had only spoken to her initially just to call another girl. Frustration. She starts writing furiously on the board, trying to understand her own feelings. The scene shifts to the day of the student ambassador competition. Determined to stand out, Susie prepares with extra care, telling herself, "I can do this. If I win this, Ivan will definitely notice me." As she sits down to begin her presentation, she immediately gets lost in her daydream. In her mind, Ivan is sitting right there beside her and she says to him, "If I manage to win this competition, I will share a very special secret with you." When Ivan, full of curiosity, asks, "What kind of secret is that?" Then, suddenly, he vanishes, and Sushi snaps back to reality. All of this was merely her own imagination. Outside the presentation hall, Ivan is seen conversing with the teacher, and he decides to withdraw his name from the competition. Having explained his reason to the teacher, he silently walks away. Inside, Susie delivers her presentation, and following a thorough discussion, the teacher selects her to be the student ambassador. Later on, Susie discovers that Ivan had actually withdrawn from the competition and never even presented his own work. She is left completely stunned and simply cannot comprehend why he would have done such a thing. As she steps out, holding the certificate in her hand, instead of experiencing the joy of victory, her heart is filled with a mix of anger and deep frustration. No matter how much I try, Ivan just never seems to notice me. It's as if I don't matter to him in the slightest. If things continue this way, he'll never truly know how I feel. Determined to change the situation, Suchi decides she will meet Ivan face to face and properly introduce herself. But when she goes to his classroom, she discovers that Ivan isn't there. Someone tells her that he's outside, so Susie immediately goes out to find him. But just as she's about to get close to him, she sees Ivan walking with Hania once again. They are both laughing, they are talking, and they look completely relaxed and comfortable. Seeing them together like this, Susie's heart shatters once again. She quietly remains standing right there, realizing that Ivan has completely ignored her once more, and that she's utterly invisible to him. Susie whispers to herself, "This truly was the very last time." And with this moment, her school days finally come to an end. In a voiceover, Susie reflects, "I have ended my one-sided love story right here, right now." The time had come to move on and start my college journey. I didn't want to repeat the mistakes of my teenage years. The scene shifts to Susie's first day of college. She is filled with excitement and determination, completely ready for a fresh start. But she's utterly shocked when she sees Ivan standing right in front of her. Ivan, too, has secured admission to the very same university, and the situation becomes even more complicated because his girlfriend is also there with him. She then tells Ivan, "I will come along with you to take a look at your hostel room. I'm genuinely concerned about how you'll manage all by yourself after leaving home." Ivan agrees, and they both set off together. Susie is then asked to go and check her own hostel room. However, upon seeing Ivan with his girlfriend, her entire mood instantly sours. She then begins to ponder if she should approach him and introduce herself as a former schoolmate, or perhaps not. She's completely engrossed in this thought when, quite unexpectedly, a fruit drops right onto her shoes, thoroughly staining one of them. Susie takes this as a sign from God, as if she is being forbidden from going to Ivan. Feeling heartbroken, she runs away from there. The moment Susie leaves, Ivan turns slightly, as if he sensed someone's presence. Once again, the opportunity slips away from them, and the two of them just cannot meet. Ivan departs with his girlfriend, and Susie is left to ponder whether she will ever get the chance to reconnect with him again. The scene transitions to Ivan's hostel room. As Ivan makes his entrance, all the boys present are quite taken aback to see a girl. Some display a mix of curiosity and excitement, while others begin to whisper and gossip amongst themselves. Hania, Ivan's girlfriend, then says, "I think it's time for me to leave now." Ivan simply replies, "All right," and Hania departs shortly after that. The very next day, Susie was making her way to her class at school. Jungming, who was Ivan's roommate and had now become a good friend to Ivan, happened to see Susie and was instantly and completely smitten by her. He tries to follow her after calling her beautiful, but he accidentally loses his balance and a bowl of noodles falls all over him. The people surrounding them start to laugh, but Susie finds no humor in it whatsoever. She silently departs from the spot without a single laugh. Sometime later, Jiang Ming, who has become quite smitten with Susie, decides to learn more about her. After managing to discover her personal details, he excitedly rushes to Ivan and exclaims, "Today, I had the pleasure of meeting a truly stunning girl from the university. Her name is Susie." Ivan asks, surprised, "Did you just say you met Susie?" Jiang Ming replies, "Yes, Susie. Do you know her? Is she a friend of yours?" Ivan answers calmly, "No, I've only seen her once or twice. Her name was always just below mine in the rankings for the past 3 years."